Yo, dog.
Howdy doody.
How was your hike this morning that delayed our episode, Brick?
It was glorious. It was beautiful. Perfect day outside. No problem parking. Then we drove around the trail and then we went home. I'm just kidding. We actually walked it.
I was gonna say, yeah, that sounds like something that you would totally do. You're a deep guy now, so.
Exactly. Oh, did you see the hike I went on? AKA I drove around in a circle.
There's just like trees felled and like dead animals from you driving off the road. Yeah, I could see you doing that. So it's not hotter than Satan's nutsack there.
It's going to be next week. 97, I think, for quite some time. Is it burning up in Chicago? What?
It's just so, the air is so thick.
Muggy.
Oh, it's gross. I mowed the lawn this morning and I wished I was dead. I mean, my lawn is basically, it's weird. We're like everybody in the country right now is in the middle of a drought. We just aren't getting rain. And my grass is still growing for some fucking reason.
That's some super dad powers. Keep it watered nicely. You got to do your due diligence. That's why you're spending Saturday morning mowing and taking care of the lawn.
Building toys for my kid. The birthday party went off without a hitch, so that's good.
Excellent. Did he love it? What I saw a few pictures. He wore the crown. Looked cute, adorable.
Yeah, he did the cake thing where you give the baby a cake and he just demolishes it, like shoves it everywhere.
Oh, he probably loved that.
He loves anything he can crush and destroy because he's a little boy and that's what little boys do. I had to laugh though. Like I was kind of holding him to make sure he didn't like shove it in his eyes or something.
Sure. And
I grabbed a chunk of it and ate it. My wife got mad at me. And I was like, you realize he's not actually going to eat this, right? Like he's just smashing it.
I agree with Erica. That's a bad rhyme. That's not your cake, dude. You're just stealing your son's food right off of his plate. Unbelievable. Some dad you are.
My kid. I get what I want with this food.
That's my cake. I bought the cake, so.
Goddamn right. I brought you into this world and I'll take you out.
The best line of all time that you could ever say. What kind of toys? What's he into nowadays?
I mean, anything. Right now it's water stuff because it's so hot outside. He's got like a splash pad that just shoots water up everywhere. You hook the hose up to it. He's got a pool, water table. The thing I put together this morning actually came from Veronica. Shout out, V. It's like a push car, but it's a new Ford Raptor.
Oh, so that was more for you than it was for for Max.
I don't fit in it, but yeah, it took me 2 hours to put that fucking thing together.
And you had fun every step of the way.
I mean, I'm pretty mechanically inclined. Like I have tools for everything. I kind of know what I'm doing, and it took me 2 fucking hours. I was like, God damn, man, how does a single mom figure that shit out while also juggling a kid? You know, I had Erica to help me occupy Max while I did that. So I don't know, dude. That's a nightmare.
Roles would be reversed with Ashley and I because she used to run a home decor store and knows how to put up and fix and put everything together. And I'll just be like sitting with the kid and with the just supervising, as they say. But yeah, she's got all that. She's the mechanically inclined one. That's the smart way to do it. I can't do it. You got to do it.
Yeah, one of you's got to be able to put shit together.
Got to be a team. What up, Panda? I see you in the chat. Have you seen Loki yet, Smithers?
I did watch it. I don't want to talk about it if you haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet, so I'm planning on watching it today. It was after my hike. After this, I'm actually probably going to watch it with Ash.
Owen Wilson's nose is so terrifying to me. And there was a particular scene in the first episode where it was lit, and it seemed like they were lighting it specifically to show off the weird crease in his nose, because it like his nose was casting a shadow on itself.
Okay, so we got to get Owen's nose in this angle. They did some
very distracting.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for it. I'm sure I won't miss it.
No, you will text me when you see this scene. You'll be like, "Oh fuck, I just saw it."
Oh wow,
but you're really gonna like this. It does some fun, weird stuff, and I think you're gonna enjoy it.
Oh, I can't wait. Loki, the trickster god. I did wait, so that was a false statement. I've waited since Wednesday. It's Saturday. Yeah. It's pathetic, honestly.
Speaking of trickster gods, Brick, it's an excellent segue. I know that you are Mr. Baseball.
Oh, yeah.
You're a huge fan. Can't stop talking about it. Love it so much.
Yeah,
I mean, Gerrit Cole, who's one of the best pitchers in the major leagues. I think he won a Cy Young 2 years ago. He tricked all of us, man. He just he did really well in this interview. Let's tune in.
Have you ever used spider tack while pitching?
A bit of context here. In MLB right now, the hot topic is pitchers using sticky substances on their fingers to add to their spin rate. So
Right.
to make your fastball move more than it normally would, your curveball, your slider, etc. So that's what they're talking about. Spider tack is like a sticky substance that's made specifically for this, but it is supposed to be banned by Major League Baseball.
It's basically, it was pine tar back in the day when and I've seen those videos online where they do the slow-mo and then it like the fingers just barely stick and it's just like clearly you're using sticky tack or spider tack.
Anyways, back to Gerrit.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
This physically pains me.
I mean, there are customs and practices that have been passed down from older players to younger players, from the last generation of players to this generation of players, and
what are you talking about, Gerrit?
I think there are some things that are certainly out of bounds in that regard, and
I can't watch anymore. I'm sorry. That is so painful. That is the worst interview response I think I've ever seen in my life.
Wow, that was cringe. And those awkward pauses, they were long, and clearly something's up because he's just like trying to beat around the bush, but brutally bad at it. So back to we have customs and traditions. I know like Thanksgiving is pretty popular. Just like nothing to do with anything at all that he's. So did you use it or not? Yeah, the customs were included. Yeah, I did it.
Why can't you just lie? Just lie. Baseball is built on lies.
It's a giant fallacy. I mean, that's what the people in the steroid era did, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Pete Rose lied about gambling on baseball. Everybody lies in baseball. It's fine. You throw a changeup, you're lying about throwing a fastball. Everything is a lie.
Everything's a lie. We're living in a matrix anyway, so what's the difference?
That's the other thing is like it's so unimportant in the grand scheme of things. Like baseball in general is so unimportant, even though like this is coming from somebody who really likes baseball. I watch pretty much every Cubs game or listen to it on the radio if I'm not near a TV, and I just don't give a fuck. Let them do. I think that you should let them all do steroids. Let them all use whatever the fuck they want on the baseball. I want the baseball to just get to the home plate and just drop, and I want to see somebody swing at it and look like a moron.
I want to see the Futurama version of baseball.
Blurns ball,
where the ball's like on a string and it just goes flying out for a home run, but the guy can just like catch it and come back. That's the only way I'll watch baseball ever again, unless it's at a game. Blurns ball.
Or unless you're playing the show, or if you
I haven't
just
played the show in a while.
On, yeah.
Yo, the show's hard, dude.
Another game that you just gave up on?
It's just like, I wanted to play a franch with somebody. It's not as fun to just do a franch by yourself because it's like, yeah, cool. But it's more fun to do it with we used to have crazy franchises where each person would have their own team. We'd like play maybe one game only in like the playoffs, but you sim the rest and it's all actually management. It's great.
Wow. Sounds riveting.
It's surprisingly, you would get addicted to it. It's actually fun.
I know that I would because I'll play whatever game. If there's competition in it, I'll play it. I don't give a shit.
We did the same thing for Madden, and we got to the point where we would literally make our own Super Bowl rings.
Are you like 40 years into the future?
We got to a point where there was nobody in the league that we knew at that point. Wow. That was back on the old Xbox.
Yeah.
Mr. Simon had the only team to ever have a 99 overall rated team. He was the Packers, weak sauce, but he dismantled them the year afterwards and never got back to the top. It was the best thing ever.
That's funny. Speaking of baseball, I've been downtown Chicago the last couple of days, going into work and whatnot. Cardinals are in town, so all their smelly St. Louis fans are here. You all smell bad. Go back to America's armpit, you scumbags.
Yeah. St. Louis. The problem that I had with St. Louis fans was we went to college in Eastern. Half of them were Cardinals fans. And that was the time where the Cardinals were actually like really good and they kept winning those World Series. So it was just like, all right. And then Cubs had nothing at that point either. So it was just like
for hundreds of years, or 100 years.
yeah. So they
My
were
first
unbearable.
year, and my first year there was the year the White Sox won the World Series, so I was getting it from all sides. Cardinals, fans, White Sox fans, and yeah, that was rough.
That was your first year in college, you old ass. Was that 2005?
That was 2005. I remember it vividly. Yeah. Good year. There was something else I was going to say. Obviously, it's not that important. Oh, Mark isn't here because he's at his sister-in-law's wedding. So everybody, I guess, cheer that Mark's not here.
Hurrah!
News to us.
All right, Brick. We got some trailers, and I want to let you kick this off because you were waxing poetic, I think is the right way to say it. I'm not interested in a Battlefield game. It looks cool. The video that they showed, it's fine. You were like, well, if you go back in history to Battlefield 1 and bring back, you need to bring back these matches and shit. Like, just tell me what you like about it.
Okay, so environmentally, Battlefield is notorious for having those really cool environments and also having interactive environments. So if you explode a building, the whole building will collapse. And they do it in a way where it like looks very realistic and it like makes sense with how everything kind of comes together. This time they have like an ice level, it looked like, where you can be sliding on these like motorized tanks, kind of.
It looked like hovercraft.
Yeah, hovercrafts. They looks like they have the squirrel suit. The environments themselves look amazing. One of them was on like a spaceship, or not a spaceship, like a launch pad for a rocket going into space. And then they had another one where it's like a city, but all of a sudden a giant tornado comes down. And as one of the characters, you can have like a squirrel suit. So you could be like flying around this tornado in the middle of the heat of battle. So environmentally, they've always been incredible. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that. Graphics, they've always been kind of up there as well. But I always like that EA style of shooter too, as in Battlefront. All those Star Wars games, the only thing good about Star Wars is the video games themselves, obviously, facts.
What about Mando?
And Mandalorian. Mandalorian's up there too. But just that style and simple gameplay, they just need to bring back Operations, the old school one in Battlefield 1, where it's just like 1, 2, or 3 points. If you capture all 3 of them as the offensive team, you want to lock a map further down, and you kind of, the map gradually expands. It just makes for good teamwork and good battles. You can get, there's just some epic stuff you can do with that specific game mode that they kind of lost their vision and their touch with it last year, or not last year, when Battlefield 5 came out. They had grand operations, which they like integrated too many things, and it just wasn't what people wanted, aka me.
Fair enough. You love these games though because you have a crew of people to play these with. These aren't nearly as fun if you're playing solo.
No, because exactly, you get a squad of like 5. So if you are in with people that you can talk with and kind of strategize with, you can spawn in on them rather than just always spawning in at the beginning of the level. So that strategic spawn placing and then being able to just kind of jump in on, if we're on the same team, you're alive on behind enemy lines, I die, I can just like spawn in on you. We have this great flank, and just like makes for better gameplay overall, I feel.
Okay. You sounded like you were more excited for the beta than you were for the actual game release though.
Something about it, when I was playing Battlefield 1, that beta that came out, it was just like, it was so well done in just the beta form that the only reason I was more excited was really because it's going to be sooner. I'll be able to play it sooner.
The only beta that I ever remember being super excited about was Halo 3 and how hard it was to get an invite code and all that shit. And once you finally got in, nothing worked right. And you're like, fuck, this is going to suck. And
yep.
Did Halo fell off after Halo 3, but
very true. But that was in the height of Halo, like all that hype. It's crazy to think back into the day of like old online games and how bad servers used to be, and just like having to sit there and try and play online. But nowadays it's like, if something goes wrong, the whole community goes ape shit on Twitter.
Yeah, if your frame rate drops below 58, you're like, what the fuck?
It's just trash. Yeah, lagging constantly. What up, Azrael? He's in the chat too.
So you're excited. When is this coming?
I actually don't have A release date. Battlefield 2042 release date. Let me just pop that real quick. October 22nd. So fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm looking. The beta will probably come out during August, I would imagine. That's when they usually come out.
Okay. I don't have much interest in these games, especially a trailer like this that everybody was going apeshit over. There's not even any actual gameplay in it.
No, gameplay's coming next week. So, yeah, I don't know. Just the graphics, the scenery. That's what people are hyped about. And they haven't had one for 2 years, maybe 3. I can't remember though when Battlefield 5 came out.
I get hyped when other people get hyped. I like that.
Fuck yeah.
And then they can inevitably be disappointed by something like Cyberpunk or whatever else.
Ooh, Cyberpunk. Yeah, that one
I
hurts.
still liked it.
It was fine, but it got repetitive and didn't keep my ADD brain working. So,
Okay,
on to
well,
the next.
I don't want to lock up your ADD brain, so let's talk about more alien invasions, Brick. This is another trailer. Apple TV this time. This is actually called Invasion, I want to say.
It is.
The production value seems high, but there are no big name actors in it outside of Sam Neill. And if I say Sam Neill, do you have any idea who that is?
Jurassic Park.
Okay, good job. You know what? I got to give you some credit. Your movie knowledge has gone up in the last couple of months, and I've noticed, and I feel like you deserve some credit for that.
High praise. Thank you.
You're definitely still an idiot. Don't get me wrong, but you're learning, and it only took you how long have you been doing this show now? 4 years?
4? Yeah, been a while. It's been a while. The only reason that I knew it was Sam Neill is because I flooped on that trailer, and the guy from Jurassic Park came on. I was like, that's the guy. You got to be talking about him.
You know what? That's half the battle. As long as you can make that connection in your mind, you're fine.
That's what's up.
Jurassic
Park, by the way, Jurassic Park comes out the same week as F9, dude.
What?
Jurassic Park. The new Jurassic Park comes out.
That can't be right. Anyways.
So about this, that's 2022.
Yeah, I was going to say
Fake
there's not even, there's not even trailers for that yet.
Okay, so for this one, I don't know, looked like a standard. I mean, alien invasion. The kids get like nosebleeds. That's I don't know. It looked fine. There's like they do have a space element involved in it. It's not just like an alien invasion on Earth. They kind of do at least get into outer space, or there is a launch of types. It looks fine. Nothing really popped out at me that really like made me hyped for this. I will be honest.
Yeah, the kid nosebleed thing, like that's not enough to get me to spend $8 a month on Apple TV. If I had to guess, I'd say they're not going to do big set pieces in space, but it's like beginning of the movie when the aliens are first showing up. Like you could see in the trailer, it was somebody in a space station, and the space station just like gets fucked up. Something flies through it. I'm guessing it'll just be like a cutaway that's ominous and leading to the aliens actually showing up.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like the Signs was the first thing that kind of popped in my head because they didn't really show any aliens, and it's going to be a lot of like, oh, they'll get glass exploded from the windows of my living room, and I don't know why, and stuff like that. I don't know. It's going to be a little bit mysterious and intrigue. That's what they're trying to do. Sure, I'm here for it. Make more content, Apple TV. It is $5 a month, so I need something to watch.
Yeah, they definitely need to make more content, but all of these feel so copy and paste to me. Like that Chris Pratt one, the Tomorrow or whatever. All of this looks like it could just be the same movie or TV show. This is a TV show, I think, but
I think so too.
I'm over it. Give me something original.
Yeah, Tomorrow World. I just have the Chris Pratt fandom that's just gonna pull me through that one. I'll be honest.
Fair enough. Speaking of original ideas, though, stop making trailers for Free Guy and release the fucking movie.
Can't wait.
The first trailer we got for this was over a year ago.
So I felt like there was like the same trailer. I felt the one that they started a year ago. They're just like, here's a new one. Maybe they had one new scene in there. But I watched it. The only reason I watched it was because I just watched Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, and I just can't get enough Ryan Reynolds. So is he the best action comedy star right now?
I mean, what about The Rock?
Ryan Reynolds is funnier
Comedy.
and better. Ryan Reynolds is funnier.
Well, what do you have to go off? Like, how would we judge this? Wouldn't we just say like box office total or something?
I don't even. It's. I guess it would be hard to critique, but I guess who has the most impact on a movie? Not wouldn't you box office?
Yeah, hard to argue against Ryan Reynolds for that one, just because of what he's done in Deadpool and whatnot.
He's so unique in his humor and delivery that, and he also has like awesome action stunt pieces as well. And so like if you can lock him up into a comedy action movie, he's like, I think the perfect fit for. I can like put him in any action comedy and he'd roll.
Yeah, that's pretty standard, I think. And he is a big name draw. And you are still high on seeing that movie that you saw last night, which we'll get to shortly. But I think that's kind of impacting that your opinion on this.
Yeah, but
this
Free Guys got me hyped as fuck because this I've wanted to see this movie for over a year now. Deadpool's amazing. He's like fantastic in Deadpool. Just anything that he does, his delivery is just so different and funny to me. I love Ryan Reynolds.
Supposedly this is finally coming August 13th, which is still a couple months out. That's okay. It also stars Lil Rel Howery, Joe Keery from Stranger Things, and Taika Waititi is the big bad, apparently.
And Taika Waititi is in this. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Playing a D-bag this time around, so we'll see.
Amazing.
Back to trailers that I did actually ask you to watch, because I told you didn't have to watch that. I know you're not a big trailer guy for movies that you're excited about. You watch one and you're good.
Oh, yeah.
But Fear Street is kind of trying something new, and I think I'm here for it. This is going to be 3 movies released on Netflix 1 week after another. In reality, this just kind of seems like Netflix is trying to move to that weekly model that everybody else is doing right now. So instead of just dropping all the episodes for everything at once, this is just a mini series. Unless these are all 2 hours a piece, I don't know. This is based on an R.L. Stine book series, so not Goosebumps. We're getting 3 different time settings here. One is in 1666, one is in the 80s, and one is current day. And I also saw Gillian Jacobs and Sadie Sink in there. So Sadie Sink was the redhead girl from the newest season of Stranger Things.
Yeah. This is a very interesting concept because when I watched the trailer, I was like, okay, so they're going to jump timelines here. That's interesting. But then when they said that it's going to be a different movie each week, I did find that to be really intriguing because if that first one hits, you got people locked up for the next 2 weeks checking this out. Also,
which setting do you do first? I think you do the 80s first.
Yeah, probably. I agree with the 80s. Probably
you go 80s, 1600s
now. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. If they do anything else, they're completely stupid.
Yeah, they botched it, and we'll boycott it, and not watch it. Just kidding. So it actually looks like I wasn't too sure in the beginning, but as the full culmination of that actual trailer did have me really intrigued. Is this coming out during October? July?
Yeah.
Okay. This feels like it would be really good.
They're trying to fill a void that's being left by Stranger Things because Stranger Things been delayed so much, probably not coming until 2022. And I mean, you even got some of the same actors. So
seriously, yeah. Oh damn! Because this is like it's called Fear Street. And it's about a murder, so it feels like a very perfect October. If they could do like a series like that for the month of October to have like a horror, I think that would kind of line up perfectly. And if
maybe
I got to this,
going with this,
if this is successful, yeah, maybe they do a different series of sorts. But yeah, damn, when is Stranger Things coming out, dude? What the hell?
Not until next year.
That's a full-on bummer. But I feel like Stranger Things also does a good job of kind of changing up when they actually get released, because I think the first one was like a fall.
And first 2 were October. Then they did 4th of July.
Exactly. So then now they're not doing 4th of July. Maybe they'll do winter or some other, because then they can change up a lot of different aspects of it by just using a different time period.
Those kids ain't getting younger though.
That's a good point.
They're going to be like 25 years old making Stranger Things.
Well, with the CGI that people have now, like if you can make Samuel Jackson look younger, you can make these kids look younger, I guess.
I'm going to de-age this 16-year-old.
Yeah, man. Got to do what you got to do.
Oh, fuck it. Okay. The real news this week in terms of trailers, though, in my eyes, is this Masters of the Goddamn Universe trailer from the brain of Kevin Smith. This looks fucking incredible.
I'll let you go off on this one.
So I was a fan as a kid. I had this He-Man sword that made thunder sounds when you swung it, and I annoyed the shit out of my sister with it. It was great. This is supposed to be the continuation of the early 1980s series. So I used to catch it on reruns or whatever, and it's kind of weird that they call it continuation because it was episodic. Like they didn't have an overarching story. It was just Skeletor was always trying to kill everybody.
Okay. So Skeletor's the dick. Are you gonna sit down with Max and watch this one, or is it too intense?
So back in my day, they didn't allow actual violence. You know, He-Man carried a sword and had big muscles and shit, but he didn't beat people up. The worst thing that he did in that original series was like pick somebody up and throw him. And it was always how he would pick Skeletor up and just toss him. But now they're punching each other in the face and shit.
I'm looking at this trailer right now, and it's just like they're not really doing much of that either, to be honest. It was a lot of He-Man throwing people. They have swords, but they just kind of clink together.
It's like the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like they never used their weapons. They just had them. And they'd like, you know, Raphael would use his size to like stick in the wall and climb up or something. And then he'd get up and kick somebody in the face because you couldn't kill anybody. But yeah, it's, you know, whatever. It's still supposed to be a kid's cartoon. I get it. But this definitely feels like it's aimed directly at me. And it is coming on my birthday too. So it's definitely, it's
so yeah. 100%. You've written too many letters to get this thing back on the air.
From my cousin Kevin Smith. Yeah.
Sick.
Do you have any thoughts on this at all?
No, you covered pretty much everything that it was fine. I never watched any of the Master of the Universe. I have no input on this at all. Look colorful.
There's a really good Dolph Lundgren live action adaptation that I have on DVD. I'll let you borrow it. It's comedically bad. But it's so bad that it's good.
So it's Trolls 2 bad.
Yes.
Okay. It's infinite bad. Spoiler alert.
We'll see about that, won't we?
Yeah, we'll check that out later.
Only other question on this. What do you think about the animation? Because I think it's gorgeous.
It looks beautiful. Yeah, the animation is fantastic. And like I said, it's colorful. It's bright. People have looks like they have a lot of different special moves that look kind of interesting, intriguing. But it looks like it'd be a really fun cartoon for like a 10, 12-year-old. Like it looks fun.
Elise is stoked. Yeah, so violence, cartoon violence, give it to me. Netflix also, they announced like a shitload of anime they're going to release coming up soon. They're making 2 separate Far Cry animes. They're doing a bunch more Transformers stuff. Are you a Far Cry guy? I like Far Cry.
I played.
I don't know anybody else who does.
I played. I just couldn't get into it for some reason. I don't know why.
The next one though.
Yeah, I think it's because of the. I feel like you're either an Assassin's Creed guy or you're a Far Cry guy because it's like the same concept, but one's first person, one is third person. And after playing so many third person games, I just could not get behind that single player climbing up walls and stuff. I just didn't. I couldn't do it for some reason. It just like didn't resonate with my stupid idiot brain. But the story is like fantastic though. Like last time what was it, a cult in Wyoming or something like that? Give me a little something.
That was 2 Far Cries ago. It was a cult in Wyoming or I think in Wyoming. And I guess spoilers, but they've released a game after that. So
yeah,
but it ends in like it's a cult leader who basically ends his run in a nuclear apocalypse. And then the next game is like after the fallout, civilizations like post-apocalyptic factions warring against each other and people vying for power and shit. It was fun.
Yeah, no, like the concept of it have always been great and super intriguing, and they always have these great stories. And isn't the new one, was he the Gus Fring from Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
So he's like the big bad, right?
Yeah, this looks real good.
He's a great big bad. When did that one release? That was last year?
No, this is coming in October.
Ooh, okay. Another fourth quarter game. Is gaming back?
Did gaming leave? We've been in a pandemic for the last 15 months.
Gaming has left, dude. There was not much to actually play from. I saw people will post playing League. That game's like 8-10 years old.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Yeah, but Knockout City's back. That rips. I think gaming's back, dude. A lot of fourth quarter games are actually making their appearance. Overwatch 2 is coming back. I haven't played Overwatch since 2016, it feels.
You tried to get me into that game, and I played like 3 rounds and just got immediately murdered. I was like, this is dumb.
I think you joined late, and you have a very steep learning curve for any video game, except for if it's driving, I feel. That
is a very kind way of you to put it.
Yeah,
I'm decent at Madden, and that's about it.
Sure, yeah.
All right, I only have one bit of news, so we'll get through that and then get to our recommendations. Cruella is already getting a sequel. I wanted to talk about this because I don't really understand how that's going to work. Is she just going to slowly devolve into a puppy murderer, or
I like how
for Cruella? So I don't know what happens.
So I saw it, and it was all about like the fashion and like the fashion industry. I didn't know anything about the fashion industry, but like she makes these like big giant like entrances that like cause this like to get all like the paparazzi to look at her and all this other shit. And they did a really good job making it a spectacle. And I was actually intrigued. Also, she plays like a schizophrenic psycho kind of. So she has this very split personality that I feel like she overcomes or devolves into Cruella, because depending on what, perspective you're looking at. But yeah, she's like power hungry, and it's like really, I really enjoyed it. I'm here for a Cruella 2.
I think maybe this means that their Disney Premiere Plus is going well for them, because this seems like something that they could, like, imagine if this is just the replacement for Disney Channel original movies, where you can get $30 a family or household or whatever for it, and it's a little bit lower budget, but not necessarily bad production value. I think that like they wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't being successful for them. And it's also weird that in their press release announcing this, they were talking about Rotten Tomatoes scores and A's on their cinema score and stuff. And I feel like I don't see a lot of studios do that. So that's interesting.
Wow. Yeah, no, that is interesting. What it got a 74% on Rotten Tomatoes?
It says they actually specifically reference the audience score of 97%.
Yeah, 90, and Google at 91% of users liked it too. Like, I really enjoyed it, and I mean, I thought it was probably one of the better Disney live action movies. Like,
I'll watch it when it's free.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of, Raya and the Last Dragon is now free on Disney Plus. Movie's a banger.
Yeah, it is good. It is good.
Okay.
Here's some money. Go see a Star Wars.
Never gets old. Brick.
Never gets old. I love it.
Talk about it. Just get into it.
Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, y'all. I saw the first one. The first one was unmemorable in my opinion. I don't remember much about it. I thought it was probably fine, but I saw a early release of the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, and just the character dynamics between Ryan Reynolds, Salma Hayek, and Samuel L. Jackson are a perfect stew of action and comedy, and they play their characters so well, and they're all so genuine, and they stay so consistent in their characters that the movie literally elevates itself into funnier and funnier. It's one of those movies that I actually want to go back and see it again, because I thought it was that enjoyable. And I think it was pleasantly surprised. Like, I went in there, I was in a bad mood when I went to go see that movie. I was like, I had like a little tiff. Me and Ashley had a little tiff, and we were both going in there with a really bad mood. And all of a sudden we came out like, that movie was hilarious. Immediately forgiven about everything. We like, how often do you go into a movie where you're in a bad mood and you come out in a good mood? Can you even think of an example of that?
Into the Spider-Verse. Actually, I specifically remember that.
And how good was Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah, it's got to be a really good movie if it's going to actually turn your mood around.
It changed my mood into happiness in general. And it's extremely quotable. and there's so many small little digs. The writing was, I thought, really well done for the entire movie. And the pacing was also fantastic. So I can't give this movie enough praise. I almost forgot I watched Infinite. That's how it's infinitely better than Infinite.
Okay. I don't remember the original like at all.
Right?
I remember all of these characters being in it, but it was not a good movie.
And I don't remember it wasn't like, oh yeah, that's a sequel to that. Okay. That's what are they going to do with that? But Salma Hayek's character, I don't know what it is that just evolved that dynamic to this. I'm excited for them to make a third. I honestly.
And she was barely in the first one, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But it's entirely possible that I don't, because it's a very forgettable movie.
It's a super forgettable movie, but this is one of the rare instances where the second movie was actually like funny. And it was like the first half was like, okay. But then the second half, I don't know what it is. The characters themselves just kind of popped off the screen, and you started to feel what they were like, their motives and just how they are as a whole. And you put yourself into this universe and you're just like, this is just very well done, consistent. And Ryan Reynolds just pops. Him and Salma Hayek were the stars of the show.
Heavy praise, man. Okay. I feel like I don't need to recommend Loki because everybody's going to watch it anyways. I'll just say that I enjoyed it. Sweet Tooth, I tried to watch it. I did watch an episode of. It is very weird. Will Forte shows up, and I guess it's not really a spoiler. He dies immediately in the first episode, and I was bummed by that. He has a weird knack of doing these post-apocalyptic things, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, he
Remember
does. Last Man on. Yep. I
And
didn't
then
finish that one, but it was funny.
They canceled it before they gave you an ending.
Yeah,
bullshit.
no, that is actually super annoying. The same thing happened to me with Glow.
Oh,
They didn't give me an ending. And Glow was fucking awesome too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. The
So
only time I liked what's his face?
Mark Maron.
Yeah. Okay. I'm also playing Forza Horizon 4 because I bought that steering wheel and I had to have a game. I'm on Game Pass now. I paid the $1 for 3 months. I'll run this shit into the ground and then probably cancel it immediately.
Perfect. That's all you can ask for the 3 months for $1. That's the best deal ever. Download Knockout City. You'll be terrible at it.
Yeah, that's not a ringing endorsement there. Like,
yeah, no,
that's not gonna draw me to play that game.
No, I know, but it's fun to play with because it's a small group of people. So if you get 6 people, you can do a full custom game, and so the custom games are where it's at, and it's 3-on-3, and it's like a really unique take on an arena shooter because it's dodgeball. You can have these epic throwbacks and force with a bunch of people, and it's strategy involved. There's different games, and it's like a simple little arena shooter that's actually fun.
It's definitely an interesting idea, and they did that Splatoon type thing where you're not actually murdering each other, so it's kind of for all ages. It's smart, even though EA had all of their source code leaked this week.
Yeah, that's a whoopsie. Well, at least that'll hopefully maybe they'll change some of that code, which will evolve some of the games that they've had, because a lot of their sports games have been stale.
I mean, how much different can you make a sports game from year to year, though?
It's true. I agree. But did you
At the end of the day, you're still playing football or basketball or baseball, whatever it may be.
Yeah, incorporate an NFL street style as like a mini game in Madden. Like there's stuff you can do.
It always sucks. No, that was 2 years ago. Never mind. Like they have you start in like the college national championship, and nobody gives a fuck about that.
Yeah, the storyline. No one gives a shit about having this story. Oh, me and Wilpo tried to fail as much as possible in that and try and still get drafted and see what happens. They literally don't let you fail at certain points or ever. So you're just like, all right, so it's just now you're just the story now. Like, stupid.
I want a game where I'm like trying to secretly do steroids and avoid my drug test from Roger Goodell.
Yeah, like
They did do that a while ago. I can't remember the name of the game for the life of me, but like if you took too many steroids, you would get hurt eventually. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about. What was that game?
It was like a cranked up version of NFL Bliss. And it was more about the actual storyline and getting your players to do messed up shit than it was actually playing football. Like you did play football, but you're like, yeah, I want to juice up this guy and this guy and this guy.
No, it was Blitz. It was Blitz the League.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure.
Damn. Okay.
There was also that other football show that they had where they did all like the drugs and shit, and then the NFL was like, you got to cancel that. I forget what
It
it's
was
called.
horrible because it aired on ESPN, and ESPN had a big partnership with the NFL. They're like, what are you doing, you idiot? You're showing people what football is actually like. We don't want them to see that. We just want them to see the players go play.
Exactly. Oh, we want to see the drama of football, which is a real thing now, apparently. Like, oh, yeah, concussion, get back out there.
Yeah, woof. I don't remember how we got here, but I'm glad that we did, Brick.
Hell yeah. We wouldn't have got here with Mark.
That's
We the best!
worst.
The worst! She's the worst person in the world. Huge, skank, terrible, but thank you.
Speaking of, do you want to air your grievances with Mark since he's not here to defend himself?
No, Mark is going to do Mark, so I'm not opposed. You saw I posted more of those pictures anyway. I wasn't actually mad at all either. I was like, because it clearly, I mean, that's what I figured happened to begin with.
Yeah.
So to clear things up, we do those posts online where you take pictures from a trailer and then basically make a little post of it. And Mark is so type A that whenever I do something or whenever Smithers does something, he'll just like, okay, he'll do it himself.
Just redo it.
And so it's like, okay, that's super annoying to do, but it is what it is. And so we just had a weird timing thing where he asked me to make one of those. And then like an hour later I sent it. And then he like posted one like 30 minutes afterwards that was completely different. And I was like, all right, Mark, what the fuck, dude?
I was totally trying to fan the flames for that.
Oh,
I wanted to go at it.
Oh, you were. I actually didn't care at all. But I was.
Can you believe this guy?
I know some people. It was literally that was me just trying to make an excuse to not do those anymore. I was like, oh, I'm done forever.
All right, Brick. I'm conflicted on this. How would you personally feel if you were single-handedly responsible for bringing down about 75% of the internet for an hour?
I would probably just say, whoopsie. It depends on what my intent was. Like, how did this come about?
So the technical aspect is a little bit over my head, but I'll do my best. So a company called Fastly is basically a cloud storage place. It's a lot of web hosting for stuff. And they host a lot of stuff for Amazon, Reddit, Spotify, eBay, Twitch, Pinterest. I mean, right there, you're talking about all top 15 websites on the internet, which probably account for 75% of total traffic. Excluding porn, because obviously porn has the most.
Mm-hmm.
But in May, Fastly released this weird kind of software update thing. And some guy just minding his own business at home is having a shitty internet connection. And he starts fucking around with his IP settings, having no idea that it's about to take the entire service offline for a full hour. He broke the internet.
On accident. That's
actually completely not his fault.
That's actually funny. So how did he find out that it was his origin? I thought because if that case and that happens, you're like, oh yeah, just the internet's down. Yeah, it's just not working. You know, like, oh, the page isn't working.
I wish that I knew better how to explain this. I don't.
Okay, fair.
But
fair enough.
You can make valid configuration changes to your own IP address, to bounce off different servers and whatnot. And that's all he was doing, which is totally legit. Like, it's a thing that people do all the time.
Right.
So it was bound to happen eventually, unless somebody found this mess and patched it. But this poor, you have to feel bad, right? How many billions of dollars did he cost all these companies?
Yeah, probably a lot. But at the same, dude, an hour down on Amazon, how much is that shit? That's a lot of people buying stuff.
Can you imagine if he would have taken down Pornhub?
Yep. That we would have been overthrown. The internet would have been overthrown.
In the streets. All right, Brick.
I need my titties. Sorry. So shout out to Krisky for this one. He on the hike today, he mentioned this. He saw an article that a lobster diver survives being swallowed and spat out by a humpback whale.
What?
So an experienced lobster diver is in Massachusetts. He's about 45 feet below the surface, and all of a sudden he felt this huge shove, and the next thing it went completely black, and all of a sudden like he thought he was in the mouth of a great shark. Don't know how he got that idea, but when he realized he like wasn't hurt at all, he's like, I think I'm in a whale's mouth right now. So he thought he was going to die naturally.
Like, what the fuck? I've never heard of anything like this.
That's because it does not happen. It's literally in the article, it says this is literally like, you don't hear of whales fucking with humans at all, and it's like literally a non-existent thing that happened. So apparently the way like the whales eat, they like use their blowhole so that to a point, or they don't use their blowhole, they do something with their mouth that like causes their vision to not be clear. So he got scooped up. He was wearing a scuba diver outfit, so he could breathe in the mouth while he was down there. So he was down there for about 30 to 40 seconds. He thought he was in the mouth, and he felt like the muscles of the mouth trying to like swallow him, and he swam his way out of the mouth, sustained some small injuries, nothing too bad, but he's like thankful to be alive, which is just like, that's the biggest nightmare of all time, would be to be accidentally swallowed by a humpback whale and then just like black out and get acid dumped on you by the whale's stomach.
Literally eaten alive. I mean, at least he's got a whale of a story to tell.
Wow, amazing pun, dude.
I am a dad. Deal with it.
Yep, nope, it counts. It absolutely counts. But dude, that's insane. That's like whenever I see people in those videos where like they're on a kayak and all of a sudden a giant whale comes like right next to them, I'm always like, that's terrifying, because that thing is so fucking big and you don't know what that dumb whale brain's thinking. It could just literally eat you alive on accident.
They don't usually do stuff like that. Like even killer whales and larger animals like that typically avoid. They eat smaller prey, or I mean, whales are generally like they eat kelp.
Right.
Or plankton. That's insane. That's a horrifying story. What's the worst animal to be eaten alive by? I mean, you pretty much only have like, I don't know. I guess whales are probably the only animal big enough to eat you alive.
Right. And that's the only really thing you would be able to get eaten alive by. But if you're talking about just like, you got pinned by a bear and you got fucking eaten alive, that would probably be worse.
Yeah.
You're like getting shredded.
No, it would be like a lion or a cheetah, because cats are assholes and they play with their food before they kill it. Cats are the only like species that kills for fun. And I could totally see a cat just being an asshole about that.
Yeah, cats are sickos. You know what I need to see? Was there any piranhas would not be as bad because they shred you up real quick. If you get caught up in a piranhas, they just go and you're just bones.
Yeah, it really is just about how quickly you die in this situation, right?
Exactly. And if you're getting dragged by a lion, broken neck, you're just like, all right, this is brutal.
I mean, there's other shit, like if you fell onto a nest of bullet ants and they just bit you died. You just feel like you just got shot a billion times. That would suck.
Yes, and the after effects, that would be fucking a nightmare. Just like
there are no after effects. You're just dead.
Yeah, but if they take a while to do it and all of a sudden like these welts start coming up, that would be fucking a nightmare.
Yeesh. Okay. I got one more, and I just want to I won't do a deep dive on this, but we have a congressman named Louis Gohmert in Texas, and he asked the question that was on everyone's mind this week, Brick, in talking about climate change, and he basically asks, can we just move the moon?
It's a simple solution. Why haven't we thought of that? Oh, because the tides would kill everybody?
And also because it would be fucking
impossible. Yeah, exactly.
This is the kind of person that's fucking running this country, and I'm terrified.
Oh, that's just disappointing. You know, was he serious?
Yes, he was dead serious.
He was serious?
I watched the video of him saying it. This and like the other video of that anti-vaxxer in Ohio that was talking about how people who got their COVID vaccines are now magnetized. She was in front of people and she tried to stick a key onto someone's arm who had had the vaccine. And obviously it didn't stick because it's not a fucking magnet, you moron. But you like those people, they don't think that they're idiots. How do you not know that you're a fucking idiot?
Because they're idiots.
At least when I'm stupid about something, I know that I'm being stupid.
Same. Quick question though. I wanted to ask you about Anthony. What was that Anthony Rizzo beef you got into on Twitter today?
It's not beef. Like, it was just Jack. And I didn't, maybe I came off more aggressive than I wanted to. Like, I don't care that much. There are a lot of people that are mad online about Anthony Rizzo coming out and talking about why he didn't want to get his vaccine.
Right. That's okay. So that's why that's the beef that I met. Anthony, what's the people's beef with Anthony Rizzo? So yeah, he didn't want to get a vaccine. That was the issue.
Yeah. So he gave this, mealy mouthed answer where he was like, well, it's a personal decision. And it was a decision of my family. Like, dude, you're a cancer survivor. You should know that this is really fucking important. The only legitimate excuse you would have is if you have some kind of lasting condition or your doctor advised you not to get it.
Right.
I don't understand how everyone on the planet thinks they're a fucking epidemiologist now. Just because you read something on Facebook or your aunt sent you a link to a shitty article that was wrong anyways. And the thing that kills me about athletes is that not all of them are role models. And people treat them like they're gods, and that sucks because most of them are stupid.
Yeah, they can hit a ball pretty far. Cool.
Which is great, man. He kicked my ass at baseball and probably every other sport ever too. But you get me in financial modeling, I'll whoop your ass, Anthony Rizzo. I still like Anthony Rizzo. I just think it's a dumb thing because now this gets blasted out to millions of people. And if some people were on the fence because they are also stupid, then they're not going to go get a fucking vaccine now. And that impacts us.
Right. That was a powerful rant. You had to take a breath after that one.
Yeah. Let's just move on. That fart is very appropriate for the conversation we just had. Brick, do you think that Mark Wahlberg is a piece of shit?
Not particularly a piece of shit. No.
Maybe
I
page.
I have not read the Wikipedia page. I think he's pretty likable. Okay.
It doesn't like he's made some changes in his life, but he used to be a racist, violent piece of shit. So,
news to me.
The biggest problem I have with Marky Mark is that he does these like propaganda type movies, like the Boston bombing and shit, where it's, I don't know. And you remember when they did that one on the oil rig?
Right.
And it was just like a giant oil spill and it makes him out to be a hero because he survives and escapes the oil rig. Like that was the point of this.
Right. Yeah. He's always going to be the hero in every one of his movies. It seems like
this one especially. This one had Ben Affleck syndrome, where he has to be the best at everything. He knows
literally
every answer. Okay, so what we're talking about this week is Infinite, which I swore we weren't going to watch, but also there was not really anything else to talk about. This dropped on Paramount Plus yesterday. It's directed by Antoine Fuqua, who did Training Day and The Equalizer. So him and Denzel must be tight. This is currently at 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. Ouch. 43% from fans. Borderline popcorn film, which makes the most sense.
Yeah. Giving it a popcorn film would be giving it too much justice.
You hated this, didn't you?
It was I didn't actually, I guess I didn't hate it, but I just didn't think it was, after seeing an actual good movie later that day, I was like, this movie sucks.
All right, let's set the table here for this.
It was Deepwater Horizon, by the way. Sorry, side note. Back to that movie.
Good call. This is Mark Wahlberg as Evan McCauley. He's a dude in New York City who can't get a job because he's got this past where he assaults people, or he was institutionalized at one point for schizophrenia. Eventually, he finds out that isn't the case, and he's one of these people who just gets reincarnated. So every time he dies, he shows up in a new body, new place, with presumably being able to unlock all of his memories later down the road. And that's the story for this. There's two factions of these reincarnated people. There's the nihilists and the believers. The nihilists seem like they just want to die. And that's the leader is played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, which I almost didn't butcher that name, but I ended up in the end. He's a good actor, and he was so over the top in this movie.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, everything was like an inch away from somebody else, or yelling, or like driving like a maniac. So why don't you just give me your high level thoughts on this? I have a feeling we won't spend too much time here.
I don't think we will either. To start out, I think the premise of the movie, I was like really open for this to be a good movie. I was like, ooh, Schizo Marky Mark. He's a little crazy. Okay, you never know about that. He's a little wild card. Sweet. And then like they had that stupid intro scene where he shoots out like who's the actor who played in Love and Monsters? Who's that guy?
Dylan. Hang on.
So it's like the dead
Dylan O'Brien.
Okay, so Dylan O'Brien is like a reincarnated version of Marky Mark from, I don't know what era it was, maybe what era was that?
It's weird because that was supposed to be that he was driving a Ferrari Testarossa, which came out either late 80s or early 90s. So how does he just move his soul into somebody who's already alive? Because Marky Mark's like 60.
He's way older. Now that I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Because we don't really know what year they make this, because they do have some advanced technology.
That's true.
And that's the other problem that I had with this fucking movie is like, if you're going to go and have this advanced technology where this guy has this, like, he puts these gloves on and all of a sudden he has these 3 advanced drones that have like this computer screen that's like 3D virtual reality. And then all they end up doing is fighting with axes and swords. Like, you have this technology. I get your old souls from whenever the fuck you've been born and you remember that stuff, I guess. But like, you have the technology, use it. This guy's using a shotgun from like the Renaissance era. And I'm like, dude, just get a new age 2040 shotgun and it's way better.
They really shoehorned in the whole sword making thing too.
Yeah. Like, okay.
He's always got a sword and he's like a master blacksmith. Why? The entire premise of him going to try to get a job and being unable to get a job is because he had a checkered past. Why don't you just sell these super fancy swords that you're making, you idiot?
Yeah. I don't know how I make these amazing samurai swords. And I was like, okay, Marky Mark making a sword, cool. Like, this is all the beginning. And I was like, I'm here for it. The second act came and it was just like, blah. It was so it was dragged out and it was boring. And then I was just kind of waiting for this movie to end, to be honest. They were running after an egg. And I was like, okay, they
didn't set any of that up. They do such a poor job of like, where did this come from? Why does it exist? Like, what's the purpose of it? Oh God, it was so bad, which is, it sucks because there were some legitimately good premises and really good action set pieces in there. Shit that I had never seen before.
Agreed. And that's what had me intrigued, because I thought, yeah, they'll incorporate it in a way where it would make sense. But like the fact that it's just reincarnated people, like, how did Dylan O'Brien, like, he just was driving that Ferrari and then he shoots out a helicopter light. Guess what, dude? You're driving a red Ferrari. People are going to know where you are still. Second of all, he like purposely ran over a brick and then it went directly through one of the cop cars and then went through the other cop car. And then I was just like, if it's going to be this cheesy and good, I'm here for it. But then like it like didn't come together for me. It was very disjointed and I just didn't care for Mark Wahlberg's character. He has nothing to live for. He lives in a shitty apartment. He has nobody in his life at all to even, why save this world? What do you give a shit about? You know, it was disjointed. And also the CGI was not good. I thought it was not, the battlefield had better CGI than what this movie was. This movie was
a good point.
Cheap.
Oh, and so does Wubby. Thank you guys for showing up. Yeah, they spent a lot more on their sets and locations and cars and everything than they did on actual CGI, which they definitely needed to spend more money on.
What'd you think about the cars as our resident car guy?
There's a very cool Aston Martin that the steering wheel, you hit a button and the steering wheel switches from the driver's side to the passenger side. I love the Testarossa, even though those cars were notoriously like kind of shit boxes. Yeah, it's good, but not enough. Like, this was somehow more ridiculous than a Fast and Furious movie, but Fast and Furious movies are infinitely better than Infinite.
Infinite. Yeah. This movie was super blah. Doesn't do anything for me at all.
What did you think of Jason Mantzoukas?
He was fine. This whole movie was blah. I mean, he plays like an outlandish character that wears like eyeshadow, and it was...
Yeah, he plays Jason Mantzoukas, like in real life.
Yeah.
If he was Infinite.
He was fine. He didn't deter from the movie. He didn't super much. He didn't add too much, but he did fine.
Did you notice at one point, I know when we were talking about this, I think last week, you did your Marky Mark voice. And at one point, Mark Wahlberg has to say the most outlandish line, like something like, "We need to go save the world." And he's like, he does it in Marky Mark, "Say hello to your mother for me" voice.
Yeah.
I laughed really hard because it was stupid.
Yeah, it was just classic Mark Wahlberg. I just think this movie, if Paramount Plus thinks this movie is going to carry people to get onto their platform, big mistake.
They knew, and otherwise this would have ended up in theaters. Like, the reason this is on Paramount Plus is because the execs saw it and they were like, nobody's going to like this fucking movie. But you got to release it. You got to recoup at least something. So selling the rights to this to that streaming service and taking less of a loss there, because word of mouth on this in theaters, it would have died after the first weekend. No
doubt. It's bad.
I'm just so disappointed because it really is kind of a neat premise, and they did spend a lot of money on their action set pieces. Just suss it out fully and tell a real story instead of whatever the fuck this nonsense was.
Agreed. Because they did have, the premise was there. I was intrigued at the beginning, and then the rest of the movie just fell flat on its face.
I think I kind of want to say save it though.
Skip it.
I think, okay, watch the first act and then just know that nothing else matters in this movie.
What do you mean? Watch the first act and then turn it off because the rest of the movie is bad.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Our guy Toby Jones was in there though. The guy who played Arnim Zola in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the little weird looking guy.
Oh yeah, the guy, the Red Skull's Red Skull's boy.
Yeah, that was weird to see him there. I don't feel like I've seen him in anything else lately.
Yeah, he was very noble. He was very noble in the movie too.
Yeah, this fucking movie, man. And I know I'm supposed to separate art from artist. Marky Mark has done some fucking horrible things in his life, and I do my best. But maybe take a peek at that Wikipedia page later on. Anyways, let's wrap this up. We've been going for a little while here. We wrapped on our 5th episode of Second Star to the Right last night.
Ooh.
It was a really good time. Our good friend Joe DMs a cast of actual good D&D players, like people who do big shows and stuff. It's really fun to watch. Obviously, I'm just kind of sitting in the background, so I get a front row seat and I get, some of the access to like the background discussions, which is cool. Also, shout out to Joe. He turned 30 yesterday. So,
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Joe. Our D&D campaign is still ongoing Tuesday nights. Brick, I'm still mad at you for coming to Chicago and not hanging out with me. And do you want to tell any stories from last weekend?
No.
Fair enough.
I'll keep that one on the top shelf there.
Be sure you check out our YouTube channel for Mark's comic book reviews. Tuesday night around 7:30, we'll be back for more D&D. And if you want to call and leave us a voicemail or text us, you can do so. Ask us any kind of questions. We'll do our best to answer. That number is 847-920-6107. Find us on all social media at the Chumpcast. And until next time.
Chumps out, motherfucker. Peace. Ciao. Mahalo.
You done? You got more?
No. Magnifica. I'm done. Ubisoft Avatar game. Crazy poggers. Let's go play some Knockout City. How you doing?
Never.
Hey.
Never.
And we should record after this Ubisoft conference, apparently. Hot damn!